Let's talk around respect a little bit. You said it's reciprocal. Is that, and you said you were brought up with that. Can you talk a little bit about respect and what it actually means to you?
I think respect for me is one of those things where if I respect someone, even if I don't agree with their opinion on it, I'm still not going to be dismissive or etc. I'll try and understand their point of view. You know, a lot of respect is about listening and not talking over people or not, you know, being horrible for the sake of it, right? Or not being in a position where you know, treating everyone with respect even if you don't know them. You know, like I'm quite, I would hope anyway, quite bubbly and quite friendly in general, even if I don't necessarily know you or know the person I'm talking to, you know, in that respect. And for me, I wasn't always like that. I was, in my teenage years, very, very, very angry for a multitude of reasons. But for me, the reason why I have the respect now is because I think I would like to reflect it, if that makes sense. So if I'm going to be respectful to you, I, in some ways, would hope that you would be respectful back to me.
Okay. Is there a criteria there? Is there a rule attached to that respect that you will? So you will offer it.
I mean, for me, a lot of how I work in general, whether I have a personal relationship with someone or a professional relationship or both, I always output the way I would like them to respond. Mm-hmm. So, you know, for example, I always treat my relationship with my team, for example, with openly transparency, trust. You know, they know everything that's going on inside the business, pretty much, outside of really confidential stuff that, you know, either I've signed an NDA for or I've been asked specifically by a client not to speak about, if that makes sense. But in most cases, they know everything else.
So trust is a value. And you can see as we talk around one value how it starts opening up and looping around to other values. What does trust mean to you?
I think for me, for a long time, it's been a core, I trust quite easily, I attach quite easily, I connect with people quite easily. One of my, some would say issues, I wouldn't describe it as an issue, but I can get quite attached very quickly. So if I meet someone quite quickly, I'll know very quickly whether I like them or don't, and then whether I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I really want to spend time with you or not. I'll know that really quickly. And it's not like a matter of days. It could be, depending on the person, a matter of hours. Because or minutes. In some cases it has been. Like I've met some people and go, actually, you're a fucking arsehole. And then I just sort of don't deliberately end the conversation, but I sort of let it come to a natural conclusion and I don't really start it again. Because for me, I don't, and as we were briefly discussing before we started, I don't have the time to be around people who are not beneficial to me. Okay. And that's not necessarily always I'm using you to leapfrog situation. No. It's just, I've got to a point in my life where I guess, ironically, I value being happy and being fulfilled more than I value, in some ways, again, this might be contradictory, I don't know, but in some ways, they have that watch, they have that car, they have that camera, they have that, whatever it may be. Because for me, they're so surface level materialistic. For me, I don't particularly care as much about that. We might find that's contradictory, but personally, I don't think so. Anyway.
So there's there's more values coming out now. So we've got out of this love, we've gone on to connection. Respect is wrapped around that. And as I'm feeding the words back to you, your physiology calms. You're very, very, balanced in your thinking. And this is when we know we have a value. This is how we know. going back to a relationship of any description of when you meet somebody, as you were talking through that, you were building a set of criterion into that relationship. So your value is on trust, your value is on connection and feeling that connection, and warmth and fulfillment, reciprocal listening, respect. So all of that is wrapped in. Your set of criteria that you're actually subconsciously attaching to that is that you want that back. You want that fed back. And the criterion that you are setting is almost a time limit to which that can be shown to you.
Yeah.
So if it's not shown to you quite quickly, your values are, it's almost like they're pop-up things that, like the fun fair where you shoot them down with the little pellet guns. So that pops up, no, that hasn't been met, that hasn't been met, that hasn't been met. Do I want to spend time with this person? No. Absolutely fine, absolutely fine. But can you see how you're engaging all your values without even knowing it?
Yeah.
So when you're actually meeting somebody, you don't know why you're getting on with them, you don't know why you're not necessarily.
Well, I mean, I guess I would say I have a gut feeling about it, right?
So that gut feeling
but
is absolutely perfect description, because that gut feeling...
Because I go a lot with instinct, like with everything I do and every decision I make that arguably would be risky, whether that's spending money I don't technically have or being in a position where I like to have a certain amount and it dips below that, but it's a growth step. I ask myself, do I believe, and what does my instincts say about that decision? Or is it taking on a client, or is it having a conversation with a client? Is it having a conversation with a person, etc.? Whatever the situation is, it's very instinct driven.